Hello, my name is Josie Gagnon. I'm a Health Canada qualified quality assurance person, or QAP, with several years' experience helping develop and manage quality systems for LP and micro cannabis startups in Canada. In this video, I will briefly summarize Section 87 of the Cannabis Regulations, which is the Sanitation Program, and I'll explain how you can even create one yourself. Let's first examine why we must create a sanitation program. So there are three main sources of contamination that you must take into account in your sanitation program. I call them the 3 E's: environment, equipment, and employees. These are outlined in Section 87 of the regulations, where Health Canada requires that cannabis be produced in a healthy and clean environment with the use of clean equipment and by healthy and clean personnel. So to comply to the regulations and minimize these contamination risks, we must design a sanitation program that ensures that the building or part of the building where cannabis is present be effectively sanitized, that the equipment and conveyances used in activities related to cannabis also be effectively sanitized, and that personnel do not contaminate the product. Let's look at how we can ensure the building, equipment, and conveyances are sanitized effectively. First, we must ensure appropriate cleaning and disinfecting agents are used on the objects or surfaces that they're meant to be used on and in the manner in which they are meant to be used. So, for example, if it says on the cleaning agent container label to mix at a certain ratio when you're cleaning floors, you must ensure that you do the mix as instructed by the manufacturer when you're cleaning floors. Secondly, we must perform the sanitation process in 3 specific steps: cleaning, rinsing, and disinfecting. Let's look more closely into the 3 sanitation steps. Cleaning is the removal of dirt or other physical debris or residues which may appear or accumulate on an object or surface. This can include soil, cocoa, dust, etc. So to remove dirt or debris from an object, a cleaning agent must be applied, such as an alkaline detergent or a descaler, depending on the cleaning level required. And an action must be executed, such as scrubbing, mopping, or wiping. Once an object is cleaned, the next step is rinsing using potable water to remove and rinse away the cleaning agent and the entrapped dirt or debris. It's very important that this step be performed thoroughly, since sometimes cleaners may react with the agent used to disinfect, which is in the next step. Once the rinsing is complete, the object must then dry, and this can be performed by air drying or with the use of clean and disinfected fans. Finally, the last step of the sanitation process is to disinfect, which involves the killing of microorganisms that may be present on the object or surface. This particular step is crucial to ensure the object is fully sanitized. It's not sufficient to clean, rinse, let dry, and leave it at that. A full disinfecting process must take place to ensure there's no living residual biocontaminants that are left behind to contaminate your next batch of cannabis. To disinfect, use an approved disinfectant or sanitizer and apply it on the dried object. Generally, the object can be soaked in the disinfectant, or the disinfectant may be sprayed, mopped, or wiped onto the object or surface. The goal here is to make sure that the entire surface of the object is covered with the disinfectant. The disinfectant is then left to dry. So how do we create a sanitation program? First, we start by creating a simple sanitation plan. List all the building areas, the materials, the equipment, and conveyances that will need to be sanitized. To determine what needs to be sanitized, you have to ask yourself if cannabis will be in that area or if it will be touched by this material or equipment. If so, it needs to be sanitized. Also consider materials, equipment, and conveyances that will hold items that will be absorbed or applied on the cannabis plants, such as nutrients and water. Determine the best cleaning and disinfecting agents that are appropriate for cleaning and disinfecting each of these areas and items. If you need assistance with this list, I suggest you start by visiting the virtual QAP website, which categorizes Health Canada approved agents according to intended use. Then determine the sanitation frequency for each item and area on your list. One way to figure this out is by verifying scientific studies or papers found online. Second, design a sanitation schedule. This is basically a form or log to help you keep track of what has been sanitized and what remains to be sanitized for the month or even the year, depending on your sanitation frequencies. For example, if you decide you want to clean your rooms every 3 months, you can design your sanitation schedule to cover the full year so that you can easily refer to it to determine the next sanitation due dates for each room. In other words, the sanitation schedule is used to ensure the frequency of sanitation outlined in your sanitation plan is respected. Third, create forms to record the sanitation activities as they are being performed. So when cleaning and disinfecting a particular room, you have to make sure you're recording that the process has been done. If you don't record it, there's no way for you to prove that it's been completed. So make sure you carefully design your forms to cover all the rooms, all the equipments, all the materials that require to be sanitized, and fill them out when your sanitation process is being conducted. Finally, create the sanitation SOPs. These are the controlled documents that tie everything together. They describe the steps to be followed to ensure Section 87 of the Cannabis regulation is complied with. They detail who must do what, in what order, how often, and using which forms. They must cover how the building, the equipment, and the conveyances are sanitized, and how personnel behavior is controlled. Personnel are the #1 source of contamination in controlled environments. So it's crucial that personnel wear the appropriate PPE or personal protective equipment, they adopt appropriate hand washing techniques, and they follow the general hygienic practices outlined in the sanitation program. Don't be afraid to split processes into different SOPs to simplify things. The key to writing great SOPs is to keep them short, clear, and easy to follow. Congratulations! Now you know how to create a great sanitation program. If you have any questions, please feel free to add them in the comments below or message me personally. For those of you who'd like to buy a copy of my personal sanitation program, feel free to contact me by email. In closing, remember that quality is top priority. Ciao!